So in this follow along, we're going to take a look at installing or setting up and using GitHub Copilot. I have a business version in my primary account, and in this one, I'm going to try to set up individual. So hopefully that will go smoothly here. So the first thing we want to do is start using Copilot, and maybe a good idea would be to try to use it in code spaces, because I feel like that's going to be a lot easier and there'd be direct integration. Before we do that, I just want to show you something kind of funny about GitHub and their branding. So they have really decided to call themselves an AI-powered developer platform, which to me is a little bit silly because their only AI solution is Copilot. Is there any other AI stuff? Not that I'm aware of, but it's a really weird rebranding because they are still a Git hosting repository, but hey, they can do what they want to do, but I'm just not going to buy it. But anyway, let's go ahead and open up code spaces. And we do have some other ones down here below. I'm just going to delete them and we'll just start from scratch here. Just delete and delete. So we don't have to worry about these other ones here. And what I'm going to do is go over to that repo one more time over here. And we'll go ahead and create ourselves a new code space. So we'll just give it a moment to spin up and we'll configure it as per usual. All right, so our environment or our code space is now running. What I'm going to do is go ahead and change the color theme to dark or something that is easier on my eyes. And what I'm looking for here is Copilot. Now, is it already pre-installed? I have no idea. We'll go ahead and take a look. So we'll type in GitHub Copilot and see if we can find it here. And there it is. So there's a couple things I'm going to want. I'm going to want GitHub Copilot. And then we have GitHub Copilot Chat. It looks like it grabbed both of them when I did that, so I didn't have to do anything extra. So that is going to go ahead and install there. And then down below, it says extension failed, no access to GitHub Copilot. You're currently logged in as Andrew Brown. That's true. And it says no access, sign up. So let's go sign up for GitHub Copilot. And here we have a few options. We have the monthly $10 plan or the $100 plan. Where's my trial? So it says pay frequency after trial. So you'd have to pay for it. Confirm your payment details. And it looks like we'd actually have to fill in payment information. So I'm going to save you money here today so that you don't have to spend anything. And I'm just going to show you in my other account what it looks like to use GitHub Copilot so you can pass the exam. Whether you want to fill this stuff in is up to you. I'm not going to do that. I'm already paying for it, so I'm not going to pay for it twice. And again, my expectation is you shouldn't have to pay for that either. So what I'm going to do is go up to my command palette and just go into stop. And I want to stop the current code space. And I mean, we figured that out. That's where we're going to hit that boundary. I'm going to switch over to Omen King. And I'm in the same repo, and I think I'm part of this, so I can open this up in code spaces. And we'll go ahead and do the same process, and I'll be back here in just a moment when this environment is ready to go. All right, so our environment is up, and as per usual, let's change our theme to something that is a little bit easier on the eyes. So there we go, and we'll proceed and do the same thing as we were doing before. So I'm going to type in Copilot, and that's going to give us Copilot right here. I want the chat to be installed as well, but it seems like it knows to pick that up. There's also Copilot Voice. I've never used it. It looks like it's in preview, so that's kind of interesting, but not something here for today that we'll be playing around with. And I'm waiting for this to finish its install, and it should, come up and pop up here. If it doesn't, I can click down here below. And it looks like it's ready to go, so I'm not having to do any additional configurations. Again, this other account already has Copilot activated. But while I'm here, what I want to do is show you in my settings the Copilot options. So if I go down here below, you'll notice here that we have this feature enabled. So because it is a business organization, I had to go into that one and turn it on. But if it's enabled, and I did enable it, then I think that's the reason why I picked it up, because the first time I did this, it didn't install that chat. And then I had to go into the settings and say turn and enable chat. And then now it seems to automatically install. So I think the chat's right over here. So that's really good. And then down below, we can click this to bring it open. But let's go take a look at what our keyboard shortcuts are, because that's going to really tell us how to use this. And so we have Control // so accept panel suggestion, Alt square brace, next or previous, open completion panels, Control X, suggest terminal commands, inline triggers. So we'll try our best to try to figure this stuff out. There's clearly a lot more stuff going on here, like explain this and other things like that. So, I mean, explain this might be a really useful one to have, or generate docs. That seems pretty cool. But what we'll do is go ahead and make ourselves a new file and pretend that we are programmers. I'm a programmer, but you know, we're all pretending we're, that's fine. Anyway, I don't know where I'm going with that. But let's go ahead and make a game. So I'm gonna go ahead and type in game RB. And here it says press to ask GitHub Copilot to do something. So let's go ahead and click that and ask it to generate some code. And I'll say, create a game loop for a terminal tic-tac-toe game. Okay, so I'll hit enter. And there's a lot of different ways you can interact with it. This is like one way. You can do it in the chat, copy and paste, and do other things. But it's starting to get this stuff set up. And the thing is that this is actually pulling from real repos. So it's not like magic. It's actually going out and leveraging a lot of public repos, which I'm not really happy about. But it does get the job done. And so we already have a game generated out here. Does it start the game for us? It looks like it does. And so let's go ahead and see if we can play it. So I'm going to go ahead and type in Ruby and type in game.rb and hit enter. And boom, we got a game. So enter your move, row and column. So I'm going to say, it doesn't tell me like whatever. I'm going to say 1 and 1. So I guess that's center. And is this the second player now? So 0 and 0. And then we have 1 and, so 1 and 1, what happens there? Invalid move, okay. So 0 and 1. And then I'm just trying to purposely lose here, so 2 and 2. And then 0 and 3. 0 and 2. So there's a few things about this game that's not really good. It doesn't tell us the grid numbers. It doesn't have an AI to play against, a simple AI. It doesn't tell us a few things there. So maybe we can make some improvements. We can go to the chat, and I think the chat is like aware of our code, so it should be able to make some modifications. But I really like the fact that we had that little box in place. So looking through this, I want to look where the board is being rendered. I know Ruby really well, so this is really easy for me to read. And I'm looking for puts. Where does it render the board? Where are you rendering? Up here, display the board. And so method to display the board game. The board should show the coordinates on the of each cell. Sure, why not? And I'm not sure how we would tell it to do that. If I select that, say modify this code to show the coordinates for each cell. All right, and see what we can do. All right, and so we'll copy this function. We'll paste it on back in here. Say allow, and we'll try this again. We'll see what we get. And it's not exactly what I want. No, so I'll say, no, I want the coordinates on the outside of the board. It's board and border, I meant to say board. There we go. That looks like a little bit more of what I want. So we'll go ahead and try that. Okay, we'll stop this. And so now that makes a lot more sense. Okay, so now I can go 0, 0, and I'm less confused about which one it is. So that's really good. The next thing is I don't want to be playing against myself. I want to have some AI. You know, how can I, can you write a simple tic-tac-toe AI for my game code? And it's going to do that. So it's making a separate function, which actually is a good idea. And so that's actually what I wanted. I wanted an input and an output. This code assumes that you have a game over function. Do we have that? Yeah, we do. Let's go ahead and see if that works. But where do we use this function? This code assumes that you have a game over method that checks if a player has won the game. The AI move method first checks if the AI can win the next move. If it can, it makes the move. If it can't, it checks the player if there's no winning. So the question is where do I call this function in my code? I'm checking to see if it understands the context of it. It's loading in game.rb, so clearly it's using that file to figure it out. So it's saying here, you should call the AI move function in your game loop. So here it's updated our game loop. The loop starts up. There's a loop here. And then this here is our AI move. So this is our main game loop. I'm just going to bring this on down here so it's less confusing. Okay. And it looks like it's rewritten it. So we have update board. I don't have display board in here. This code will make the AI play its turn whenever the AI's turn. The AI move function will decide the best move and update the board. Where is the display board in this loop? Is this loop incomplete? Could we also put the loop, yeah, we'll just incomplete, because it doesn't look complete to me. All right, so now it's actually completed it. It kind of lied, but that's fine. And so we'll go ahead and just copy this. I mean, I knew what to do there, but that's fine. And look, it took out the while loop, so it clearly changed its code. Let's go ahead and see if that works now. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. And another thing that I would like to know is, could it indicate, can you indicate whose turn it? Well, let's play the game and see what happens first. So I'm going to say 0, 0. It says wrong number of arguments for game over. Let's go take a look at that. I think it was suggesting that game over might be a little bit different. So it says board and player. And so I'm going to put player in here for a second. And I don't see player getting called here. What about the new game over function? Yeah, so it's going to try to update that. You passed player. And there's ways of doing like code completion in line. I just kind of forget, but this is the way I kind of use it. So every AI tool is a little bit different. I'm sure if I did a course on how to use these tools, I would be a lot more thorough about it, but I think this is sufficient enough. Let's see if it takes that. Okay. And we'll say 0, 0. Wrong number of arguments. So you can see like how this can be a little bit finicky to get something working. You really do need to know what you're looking at. It is definitely a very powerful tool. But as you can see, you got to keep working through it. Here, maybe we'll just do current player. I think it's because we still have one more check here. Okay, 0, 0. There we go. Now it's moving. We'll say 1, 1. Okay, blocked me. 0, 2. There we go. We'll say 1, 0. And then 1, 2. Or 2, 1. Sorry, 2, 1. And it messes up here at the end. I'm not sure why, but for the most part, it almost worked. This is line 121, so I can go to line 121. And it has an issue updating the board for some reason. So, and it's on 114. So I could jump to line 114 here. And yeah, so maybe it just doesn't really have a way of ending the game gracefully, but hey, it did code it, so that's pretty impressive. We didn't really use those hotkeys, but again, it depends if you're going to be chat driven or if you're going to use the console here. We could take a look at some of those hotkeys and just quickly try to use them. Okay, so we'll go back into, into our edit settings. And, hotkeys here. There we go. Control / accept a panel suggestion. Suggest terminal command. Trigger inline suggestion, Alt /. So we'll do Alt / and see what it does. Nope. It clearly is trying to do something down below. I think it did something. Yeah, so I think maybe it's like code. And see, it is also trying to autocomplete things, but function for scoreboard. Go here, and it's thinking down below. So if it didn't do that, we could have probably hit the hotkey, but it's apparently doing it. I'm gonna hit tab to grab that. So you can see it kind of helps as you're coding, but you learn how to use it as you use it. We're not building something big here, and I think this is sufficient. So we'll call this one done. I'm gonna go ahead and stop this workspace. So I'll open up the command palette, stop, and I will see you in the next one, okay? Ciao.